Hello, guys, and welcome to the RPDL Platinum Division Power Rankings. My name is Zack, and today I am joined by our Season 2 Pearl Division champion, Julien.
Hi.
Hello, hello. Glad to have you. First time actually getting to talk to you in person, and I do enjoy this. I like connecting with some of the other people in the league, especially as a mod. I don't get to talk to a lot of people often. But today we're basically, as the video states, we're going to be doing power rankings for the Platinum Division this time. How this is going to work is we are going to rank each team on a scale of 1 through 10. And at the very end, it's going to automatically list the different teams from 1st to 12th place based on that score we give them. We're going to be looking at just basic type cores, Pokemon cores or pairings that they drafted well, and some cool utility and possible like team compositions they can bring. Overall, just if we like it or not. And this is all solely based on our opinions. None of this is factual necessarily. We could be completely off center or not know a strategy, so don't tear us apart at the end or in the comments. But with that being said, I guess we can go ahead and get started. So starting off with Phil and the Carolina Charizards, we see a super strong mix of a sand kind of core with Tyranitar and Lycanroc, with Sand Rush, and then we also have the obvious Drought and Venusaur. What are your opinions on this team?
Well, I don't know. I think Tyranitar in itself is already a strong sand core. It doesn't even need anything else.
Right.
Just giving itself the split F buff. Great. But the team looks nice. There was one thing I didn't like. It has a lot of ground weaknesses,
Right.
which I'm not a huge fan of. But otherwise, looks pretty clean.
Yeah, I think this team's super well rounded. Phil always manages to draft some crazy teams. Cosmoem as the mythical can kind of seem like a disadvantage, but he was able to put some more points into some other really good picks. I'm super interested to see how Kingler Gmax is going to work out for him. It's a super interesting Pokemon. I think Butterfree's an amazing support, and I think he had it last season too. So I believe Butterfree's a repick for him. So it seems he must have liked it.
I think Butterfree is great. Just Rage Powder and Sleep Powder are amazing, and I didn't even know it gets Tailwind this generation, which makes it even more valuable on the team.
It's a really good support, and I think on the tier list it's tier 11 if I'm not mistaken. So it's got a lot of value for how low it is. It might be 12 either way. But yeah, he's got really good utility all around. I mean, Yawn on Sylveon can be annoying. Will-O-Wisp is detrimental against several physical threats. Reggie Jellicents can be used in several ways as well. He's got screen setters. Not much redirection aside from the Rage Powder, but that's all you really need essentially.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think oh, you go ahead.
Oh, I just want to say I really like the amount of speed control. Like, you don't know what to expect. It can be either Electro Rap from the Regieleki, or just Venusaur and Sun, or Lycanroc and Sand, or maybe even Sneasel Icy Wind, the Tailwind from Butterfree, or the Kingler G-Max.
Yeah.
Like, so many different options.
Yeah, I think since you bring up speed control, I think I wouldn't even call it a flaw, but like he doesn't have a Trick Room mode, so he's solely relying on countering Trick Room in most cases, which he does have a few taunt users and whatnot. So I think that's just going to come down to how he plays the individual matches. But he's a strong player, so I think he can make it work. I think at a 10, there's, like you said, there's not a lot of bad things about this team. I would sit at a strong like 8.5 myself.
What's his slowest Pokemon?
Slowest out of all of this,
like Kingler is like 75 or something, and Tyranitar like
65.
65?
Tyranitar is 61 okay. Right there. Yeah, unless we're counting Cosmoem, but I don't foresee him bringing Cosmoem. But
I was just wondering if he has something that can be slower than an opponent setting up Trick Room, but it doesn't really look like it.
He could do some weird prep with like Iron Ball or like one of the speed tier items.
True.
Which would be kind of spicy to see. But
like I think Tyranitar with Iron Ball can't even underspeed base 30s. I'm not sure.
I don't know the calcs off the top of the head, but yeah,
I did them a lot, but I forgot, unfortunately.
Right. No, I don't blame you. But yeah, I think I would sit him at like an 8 or 8.5. What do you think?
That's really hard for me to judge. I mean, I played only one draft league, so I can't put it on a value like that yet. Maybe as we go on and see the other teams in comparison, it gets easier for me, but it seems about right.
And we
Yeah,
can
Trick Room and Slowmon is probably the only thing that's kind of missing on the first glance.
I think I'll put Phil at an 8 for now. We can always come back and alter things as we go along, and
True.
if anything comes up.
Oh right, I just see that the speed is actually on screen. Oh.
Yeah, so we have all the base stats and the base stat total averages as well.
I looked at the type chart and the moves, but I didn't see the stats. Well, that makes it easier.
Yeah, so it gives you a pretty good little breakdown for us right here.
Okay. So he has actually something that's so in Tarantine, even if it's just Sylveon with 60, but yeah.
Alright. So yeah, we'll stick Phil at 8 for now. Moving on, we have Gatronix with the Pogchamp Pelippers. Love the logo, by the way. I'm glad it's back.
It's the best logo in the entire league.
It's hilarious. So this team, it's another super strong one. In my opinion, Marshadow Yveltal, you're very familiar with that combination.
Oh yeah. Also, the best first pick in the league, in my opinion.
Yeah,
love
it
Marshadow.
was a good one. Irritated someone named Pro Horse, but that's beside the point. Rillaboom Gmax Rillaboom will always be a good Pokemon, and no matter what format. Landorus can be obviously really good. This is a very Series 7 ladder team, honestly. The Rillaboom, Landorus, Metagross, Rotom. Rotom can be used in several ways. Drifblim's super good paired with the Rillaboom. Meowstic, he actually utilized in Season 1 as well, so I know Gatronix is very familiar with that Pokemon for support. Jigglypuff's actually an interesting pick for Friend Guard. As low as it is, it's actually probably underrated if that's all they're looking to get out of it.
Yeah, it's a decent Pokemon.
Yeah, I think type coverage, they have just about everything. They don't have super... I think Ghost is their most obvious weakness that they don't have many switch and resist for. Pretty fast team all around too. This is another team that I don't really see utilizing Trick Room whatsoever. Plenty of fake out
users. Seems pretty hard with the speed tiers.
Yeah. They have plenty of fake out users to utilize or recycle. A bunch of screen setters. Ally switch is everywhere. So this team can be very difficult to prep for. I think it has so many different ways it can be put together and used. And it's very balanced as far as physical attackers and special attackers as well. So overall, this is another really good team in my opinion.
I do like it. It's one of my favorite teams in the division, just because I like Marshadow so much, and I think it's great with Yveltal. The one thing that I don't like about the team is the glaring ice weakness. Yes, it has a lot of ice resistances to switch in, but Yveltal, Rillaboom, the Landorus with the double weak, and the Drifblim.
Yeah, I definitely think. I think my least favorite part would just be the Salazzle. I see they needed a fire type of some sort. I just personally don't see what Salazzle's doing here. I guess he can go for a beat up for policy onto a Metagross or something, but he has no full strategy for it, I guess. Again, unless there's something that we're missing, but I think there probably could have been another fire type option possibly. So I think that would be my biggest issue with it. So I would probably put this team at an 8.5 myself, because I think I do like this one. It seems more well-rounded.
The thing I like about the Salazzle is that it brings a second Pokemon above the base 100, not counting the Meowstic, as it has strength anyway. So that's what I like about the Salazzle, because otherwise only Marshadow has a really fast Mon.
Which is that is fair. Fan. That is fair. And I guess that leaves the question then, between Salazzle, Meowstic, or Marshadow, because I know you ran Focus Sash on Marshadow a lot. So
definitely.
If you had to choose between those, and if you brought 2 or 3 on the same team in 1 week, it's going to be hard to figure out what you're going to put the sash on, in my opinion. But
I mean, it's not always needed. You can put a lot of items on it. Just always worked out in my team that way, and I had it in the back a lot too. But also now you can max it, and if you max it, you also don't need the sash. I don't know if the team wants to max it, with Landorus and Metagross.
Yeah, there's this team has so many Dynamax candidates. You could even Dynamax Drifblim if you chose to. It can work very well in Dynamax. So yeah, this team's full of potential. Yeah, this team's just really hard to prep for.
I just realized Morlal is also 1 point, which I would have definitely gotten instead of Mudkip. You could go for Prankster Skill Swap Spore with the
Oh
Meowstic,
wow, yeah.
which would be
Which is
sick.
yeah, which I've done that before, and it's super fun. You feel bad after
Well,
you
not
do
with
it.
Morlal, but
No, but just like the strategy in general. So yeah, no,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you're very correct there. I actually, hmm, I might actually throw this team up to a 9 out of 10. Just because I personally wouldn't want to prep against it. I it would stress me out. So yeah, I'm gonna put
It
it.
has Marshadow, so it's an automatic 9 from me there.
Yeah, so I'll put it in
I'm
a
very
9.
biased.
Yeah, so that's Gatronix's team. Very good draft. We're moving on to James now with the London Silvallys. This team caught me off guard. He drafted a lot of picks I didn't fully expect from him, but it's a strong team. I see he got Talonflame again, and I know he enjoyed using it last season, and he's actually our Season 2 Diamond Division champion. So he technically claimed the highest spot from Season 2 because Platinum didn't exist yet. Um, so we're going to see if he's going to have a redemption again this season. But he went for the Melmetal G-Max form, rather, and a lot of people are kind of torn on really like what's the benefits of running that form with its G-Max move essentially being Torment. A lot of people would argue, including myself, I do personally think the defense buff is better off Max Steel Spike, so I'm interested to see how he's going to use that.
Yeah, I'm curious myself. I can see that you maybe don't even want to max it a lot because
Mm-hmm.
double Iron Bash
Oh
is
yeah.
stronger than the max move, and maybe you just want the option to have Torment if you want
Yeah.
to max it. But I don't know if maybe you want to max it a lot just to revive stuff. It's hard to say. Maybe he has a specific strat in mind. We just don't see it
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
with the Torment.
I definitely agree with that. And Mewtwo's a super strong pick with a even without restricted like Dynamaxing. It can be support. It can be super offensive with Scarf or choice specs. I mean, it's a good restricted. Dusclops is an interesting pick. It's one of the more predictable Trick Room setters in a draft format, but it's still you have to respect it. Goodrow is an interesting one as well. He does have 2 Pokemon with Sap Sipper on his team, so I'm wondering if he's going to do something with Roserade and Sap Sipper potentially. Um, he has Hitmontop for Intimidate mostly, but Steadfast and Technician can come up, I guess. Obstagoon, though, is a very underrated Pokemon. You don't get to see it used too often.
It's pretty good when it goes off.
Yeah. And then, so as far as weaknesses go, I mean, if you look at this type chart, he drafted really well. I mean, he only has
Looks amazing.
a couple ground weaknesses and a couple ghost weaknesses. Other than that, it's probably one of the more balanced ones I've seen in a while. And then as far as defenses go, he has a fairly bulky team as well. Between like Goodra, Mudsdale, Melmetal, Dusclops. I mean, it's
The team is so bulky.
yeah. So this is actually probably a super scary team as well. He has Trick Room and Tailwind, so that's again something you have to prep for both, which it becomes a little more difficult.
What I also like about his restricted pick, it's a really surprise Trick Room setter in case he
Oh yeah, for sure.
doesn't want to bring the Dusclops or whatever. And he kind of needs Trick Room for some of the mons, or Tailwind.
Yeah, so I'm kind of struggling on where to put this team because it speed control. He's got every option he would need really. Sleep Powder with Roserade can also be really good. I I want to see what else he's kind of planning with Roserade. I was very surprised to see the pick, but it is a really good Pokemon for the lower tiers.
Roserade is great, yeah.
So I think for James, I would probably put him at. I think I would put him in at 8.5 as well, just because I don't fully know everything he's doing with his team. But I do see it being super strong.
I also like how his speed is spread out. Like basically every 10 points, he has a different mon. It's
Yeah.
pretty great.
Oh yeah, he definitely wasn't super top heavy. He scattered them out a little better, which that's not necessarily a good or bad thing, but I think it makes the team a little more interesting. So I'll put 8.5 for now for James. Super good draft. So next we have the Massachusetts Meltans with Odie. And he had a phenomenal season last season in Diamond. I think he went with only one loss up until the semifinals, and then lost to James actually. So props to him on that. But again, as we were talking about top heavy drafts, this is the opposite. We're looking at essentially 13 or higher for the entire draft, and then 3 tier 1s. And this, I've noticed this is Odie's pattern.
Oh, Eevee is not a tier 1 because of its... Oh, wait. It's not the G-Max, sorry. For some reason I had it as G-Max in mind. Okay, never mind.
Good. But yeah, I've noticed he does this with all his drafts, and he does pretty well, like 80% of the time.
It worked out.
Yeah, so I can't really bash on the strategy. And this is a super strong team as well. I mean, Regigigas and Weezing, I know you weren't too fond of Regigigas yourself, but but it's definitely a core that, like, it scares the opponent. Like, it can sweep you if you don't really prepare for it. It makes them spend time prepping for it. But Calyrex Shadow is super strong, especially paired with like Incineroar and Urshifu for potential like switch into dark types or something. Deontay's also another thing that can kind of counter or combat those dark types. He doesn't have, like, Deontay's really his only Trick Room setter, I believe, unless Latios. No, I don't think Latios gets it according to the
it's also his only Trick Room Mon, basically.
Yeah, so I don't really foresee Trick Room. I think he'd much rather maybe use Deontay and like Tailwind or something. I'm not sure. I originally had Deontay last season. I just wasn't sure how to use it either. It's in a kind of awkward spot, but with Dynamaxing, it can be so strong. Just
like it can actually survive Steel moves.
Yeah. So I'm hoping to see him use it really well. I know Incineroar is one of his go-to Dynamax mons, believe it or not, and so I expect.
I was about to say that.
Yeah, I expect to see offensive Incineroar from him again. I don't fully expect to see any of the tier 1s realistically he brought, so you can argue his team might be a little easier to prep for, but I don't know. I think overall, it's still a decent draft. He does have a couple like fairy weaknesses that overlap, and Weezing being the only kind of resist to it. It's not the biggest offensive presence, so I can't really say it counters fairy types. But he does have a bunch of speed control. He does have a bunch of like screens and options, Will-O-Wisp, a couple fake out users. He does have Tailwind with Latios, but it can be kind of inconsistent.
I mean, it's a really fast Tailwind.
Yeah.
If you have a sash on it or whatever, you can easily get it off usually.
So, Tapu Fini, also super strong pairing with the Regigigas. If you can switch out or get, you can lead Regigigas Tapu Fini and then switch the Fini out into the Weezing, so that way you at least set terrain, so you can't be Will-O-Wisp. So that's pretty strong. Yeah, so the more I look at this team, it does kind of seem to piece together. But I think I would put this one probably right below Phil. I think I'd do a 7.5 for this one, just because
it seems easier to prep for. Also, the speeds are pretty close together. It's like 85, 97, 100, 110.
Yeah.
At least Calyrex is a lot faster, and then there's Incineroar, well, not really Weezing, because he paired with Gigas most of the time.
Yeah, so
it's some really strong mons individually.
It's still a good draft, for sure, 100%. So next up we have Cheesy with the New Jersey Jellicents, and this team also very strong. I'm a sucker for Moltres, especially Comfey pairing. It's so strong. Like it's one of the scarier things to face. Jirachi, as you can see, is kind of broken on the chart right here. I don't know why. The same thing happened with Magearna, what you'll see later on. But having Kyogre next to Jirachi is pretty cool, especially since Jirachi can Dynamax now. They also have the infamous Tornadus, so the Torn Ogre combo. Raichu, of course, with the Lightning Rod. So they have like a staple 3-mon core right there. Seismitoad's not the most ideal Swift Swim abuser, but it can still put in work. You could run physical or special on it, if I'm not mistaken. Slowbro's fairly strong. Really good Trick Room setter as well, if that's the option he wanted to go with for Turtonator. Miltank's underrated. I know you had found out some things about Miltank recently. Its speed stat, I believe, is what it was.
I was so surprised that it's base 100. It looks like, I don't know, 60 or something. I couldn't believe it.
Super cool Pokemon. Another Sap Sipper. I don't expect to see Sap Sipper, though. It'd probably be Scrappy or Thick Fat, I would assume. But who knows? We could be surprised there.
Sap Sipper with Comfey could still work.
Oh, that's true with Giga Drain.
Like,
yeah,
that's the thing.
That's actually really cool. I didn't think about that. Oh, that's kind of cool.
Also, one thing I'm not a huge fan of, it's kind of lacking physically. Like Tornadus with 115, and then the next one is, what is it? Like Seismitoad with less than 100.
Yeah, this team is very special oriented from what it seems. Which in most cases, it's not an awful thing. I mean, even Turtonator though, you can run physical with. Well,
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's bad,
yeah.
but I wish there was like one
Yeah,
more
no,
bit stronger physical
I agree with
attacker.
you there. Turtonator though, you definitely have to watch out for the Iron Defense body press sets that people do slip on
Yeah.
sometimes.
Also, the Sap Zipper Miltank is also physically really threatening, so
Yeah, and then
it works. Or even Slow Bro learns Belly Drum, probably, right?
I don't know that information, to be
Slow
honest with you.
King does. Let me check.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. But while you're doing that, I also want to point out Tangela. I think we kind of skipped over it. Rage Powder, so they do have redirection as well. So if whatever learns Belly Drum, it's easily.
It does.
Okay, so yeah,
Slow Bro does.
so you can pair any Belly Drum user with the Tangela for redirection, just to ensure you get it off. You could even pair Tangela with Moltres and do nasty plot setups, and then Dynamax. So yeah, there's some cool setups you can do with this team. It just comes down to how it's played and how he preps with it, I think.
Raichu is also one of my favorite support Pokemon. It's so fast and has one of the biggest move pools. It protects the Tornadus, the Moltres, and the Kyogre.
Yeah.
Well, and Slowbro too.
Yeah, the Raichu actually does a lot for this team, and really probably any team it would be on. It's a phenomenal support Pokemon. I think Comfey's gonna play a massive part here too, because you could pair Comfey with Kyogre. I know you can't Dynamax, but you could still do something with it, and then it's another pretty solid draft.
Fastest one is just on 111, but I think that's like the point you need at least, so you can outspeed Ladias or whatever that tries to set up a Tailwind.
And I definitely think this team is looking to like always function under Tailwind most of the time. Like I think Tornadus is probably it seems like it's gonna be their most brought Pokemon in my opinion, but
probably.
As far as ranking goes for this one, I think I think I'm gonna put it at. And if this entire division's gonna have this good of teams, it's gonna be hard.
Yeah, I really like the team. Yeah. It looks pretty strong. Huge fan of Raichu. Basically holds the team together.
I think.
And support whatever you want to lead.
I'm very biased towards Moltres Comfey. Like I want to put it higher because of that, but I know it probably can be exploited. I think I'm gonna put this team at 8 just to tie it with Phil. I don't think it really deserves to be any lower than that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think I like it more than Phil's, but also Phil's team has been so long ago, it's hard to compare.
Yeah, so I'll put it at 8 for now. I do like it, though. Next, we have Pro Horse with the Emboar Nuggets. This was our Season 1 champion before we even had divisions. He has a really interesting draft as well. Eternatus is super, super strong. There's so many different little like niches and sets it can run. Dynamax Cannon's a scary move. It can OHKO a lot of things, especially if it's not like Assault Vest or something. But it has access to Meteor Beam. You could do Cosmic Power, Recover Set, Substitute, a bunch of different things. Genesec's is going to be really interesting with the Dynamax format. He has a small Trick Room core. Uxie as the Trick Room setter, Levitate, Glacier to kind of abuse it, Marowak to kind of sit in the back for massive chip damage. Linton is actually a really good tier 1 or 2 pick for Intimidate. It's got cool support moves like Will-O-Wisp and Snarl. I don't think it gets Snarl. It was Linton. No,
it doesn't.
No, so it just gets the taunt. But either way, Hitmonlee is really cool to be paired with Tapu Koko for Unburden. You could do Electric Seed with that. Pelipper with the Ludicolo is a small Rain Core. So it's a very well-rounded team. He doesn't really have any like glaring weaknesses aside from like he does have a lot of like rock and ground weaknesses, but he has a lot of coverage for that as well, in my opinion. As far as speed tiers go, they're everywhere. He has base 130, 110, 100, and then stuff that's as slow as 40.
I am a huge fan of the speed tiers. Looks good. Just yeah, 2 130s. Yeah, fine.
He could do a lot of things with screens. This is probably one of the stronger teams as of now, from what I'm understanding. I know Sandaconda, it can be a pretty detrimental Gmax form if used right. I've never personally seen it do well. But I think the Oh, you can go ahead.
I really like the Mon. I mean, I acquired it in the last week with trades, but I never got the chance to use it because
Right.
my opponents just had teams where it didn't fit. Because the move is so strong, I would have liked to use it. Also, the abilities are fine. You can like go for Max Rockfall with Sand Whale
Mm-hmm.
or the Sand Spit if you want to get the Sandstorm up. Shedskin is never bad. I
Yeah.
think it's a great Mon. Sometimes it really needs an Assault Vest, depending on the matchup, but otherwise,
Yeah, I think as well.
it's good.
We didn't point out either. I think Uxie actually gets access to Imprison as well, so that's just another way
Yeah.
to counter Trick Room. And then he does have the Lightning Rod with Marowak, so that helps out with Pelipper, Ludicolo, stuff like that. If that does come up, so that's yeah. He has some cool immunities and whatnot to wiggle around with. I think I'm gonna put this one at maybe a 9.5. I mean, I just think he has almost every type coverage you could want in draft, except for maybe dark. He's lacking a dark type, but I don't really think he needs it, to be honest.
Don't like the team that much, but it looks definitely pretty good. Also, I don't know if you pointed out, but Pelipper to protect the Genesect from fire is
Oh yeah,
really nice
yeah,
to have.
100%. So yeah, I think, hmm, I think to even out, since I said 9.5 and you're a little lower, we could just put it at
And I
9.
said 2. No, I was so surprised earlier today. I looked up Genesect's learn set. It has such a huge
Oh
coverage. It
yeah,
even gets
absolutely.
stuff like Simple Beam.
Yeah,
I was so
especially
surprised about the
yeah,
mon.
especially
Pretty
with like I
cool.
said, Dynamax. There's so many things Genesect can do
Yeah,
this
seems
season.
great.
So I'm hoping to see some spicy sets brought from Pro Horse. But yeah, I think for now we'll put them at a 9, um, just to balance out our two opinions on it.
Yeah.
Uh,
You can still bump it up later if you want, after
yeah.
we saw the rest. Oh,
Um,
Cosmog, that team's great.
yeah. So we're looking at Rebellion now, coached by Lucian Flash. This team's pretty wild as well. It's got a lot more support than offense, in my opinion, though. Just like first glance looking at it, because between like Porygon, Whimsicott, Amoonguss, and DD, Torcat, uh, those are all mostly support Pokemon. You can bring Dynamax Porygon 2 sets. I lost by it last season, fun fact. Um, but it looks like most of the damage is coming through from Palkia, Celesteela, and Lapras. Maybe Marowak if you bring it in the back. It can hit pretty hard. But as far as like speeds go, this isn't a very fast team. Whimsicott's the fastest Pokemon, but it has Prankster. So aside from that, you're looking at Palkia at base 100. So it definitely looks like this team's going to utilize Trick Room a little more, which isn't a bad thing. They do have Redirection on top of the possible Tailwind or Trick Room setting. They don't have any Reflect or anything like that. They don't have Fake Out. I think not having Fake Out. Well, they do have Torcat. Does Torcat have Fake Out?
Indeed, he gets fake out, or is it just female?
Oh, that is the male in DD. I don't know that, to be honest with you.
Let me check. I thought both get it, but I don't want to be wrong, so let me just look it up.
If I'm not mistaken, I actually think male gets it.
Oh no,
Well,
both get it.
yeah, okay.
I mean, either he can't use Psychic Search, or he has to fake out Levitators and Flying types, but he has fake out if he really needs it.
Yeah, so there's an option. I think a
Also,
Moongus...
Inner Focus fake out,
Mhm.
just so you can guarantee fake out not pausing. Mon if you need to is fine.
Yeah,
If
I
he
do.
needs to.
I do think a Moongus is it's kind of like a Dusclops in draft, where it's like it's pretty linear is what it's gonna do, but it's something you have to prep for, and you basically have to bring safety goggles if that's something you're fearing in your prep. So it does make you waste an item slot.
Or even Lumberry on top of it on some Pokemon.
Yeah,
depending what your team looks like. If you don't have a Grass type or something, you might need 2 answers.
Yeah, so it can be pretty good. I think this team has a lot of power. I think Celesteela is absurdly broken in draft. It can do so many things. It just kind of comes down to how he's using it. But I think I don't. This is probably one of the lower as far as like the entire team composition goes. I would probably put this one at like a 7. Myself.
I like how extremely bulky it is. He can basically stall out every Dynamax. The Bond
100%.
bothered him. just recover it, switch out, like with the Regenerator, with Lapras G-Max move, Celesteela not taking any damage from anything.
Yeah.
Also, the Marowak to protect the Celesteela from electric moves.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see any rain or anything. Maybe Whimsicott gets Rain Dance or something. I don't know.
I think. I know it gets Sunny Day. I don't know about Rain Dance, but I do.
Okay. Yeah, probably not, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
I do agree with you. It is extremely bulky. I just think the fact that it doesn't have much offense. So like, if your opponents get rid of his offensive threats, he's kind of just trying to wiggle out wins with whatever support he brings.
I don't think he can really go for sweeps or anything. He basically
No.
just has to grind out the games, like looking at this. And like you mentioned earlier, I don't like that he has only one Mon faster than 100, and it's a Whimsicott that already has Prankster anyway.
Yeah, so
that's what I like the least.
So, I don't know. I personally think 7's a somewhat fair point value. I don't know what you would think on that.
Yeah, I also don't know what the Absol exactly does here.
No,
I wonder if there was a way to get something different.
And he does, if you look at his remaining points, which we haven't really touched on with any of the past people, but he has 1 point left over, so he could potentially upgrade that to like a tier 5 or something. If Absol doesn't come up. Yeah,
I was more like, I mean, as much Torracat is a great Pokemon.
Oh,
I really like it, but I wonder if there was a way to exchange Torracat and Absol for a 1-pointer and like an expensive fast Pokemon or something.
Yeah.
That was a way, maybe. But yeah, Absol can be good. I just don't know. If he has any plans for it.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping he could do something with it. I'd be very interested to see it for sure. But yeah, I think we'll slap him at a 7. Up next, we have Gumi with the Rolled Gold Pretzels. Funny team name and logo. This team is pretty. Honestly, looks really strong as well. Very mixed speed tiers.
I like it.
Yeah, it's
the Rolled Gold Pretzels. You mean?
Yeah. We're sitting on 142 base speed Dragapult, but then something as low as Musharna with 29, Shiinotic with 30, Copperajah with 30. So he can play fast or slow as well. Solgaleo is a super good restricted pick in my opinion. Grimmsnarl will always be good in draft. Same with Dragapult. Keldeo, I know he was super excited to draft Keldeo, especially to use it with Dynamax. And you could
also he has Dragapult to beat it up.
Yeah, so he can actually do beat up physical sets with it, which is really cool to see. Potentially.
He has a nice moveset physically as well.
Yeah, Landorus, it's a pretty cool Pokemon. It does kind of suffer from not being able to Dynamax sometimes because you'd have to sacrifice Sheer Force and that boosted damage. Which it can still be good though. Entei will always, I think, in my opinion, be a good Pokemon.
Always a great fit next to Solgaleo.
Yeah, 100%. Vikavolt, it's honestly a pretty underrated Trick Room Sweeper. It's really good bug and electric coverage as far as damage output. Copperajah, I've never really seen Copperajah used too well. Obviously, I know it's going to want to benefit in Trick Room, but aside from that, I'm not sure what he's fully intending with that. I think it was more or less just another steel type, but I think with Solgaleo, he probably could have gotten something else there.
I also wonder what the Copperajah is for. Also, it has the same problem as Landorus. The Sheer Force and Heavy Metal are both useless in Dynamax.
Musharna is actually a pretty good Trick Room setter. I mean, it's just super bulky. Depending on how it's base 116 HP, and then depending on your prep that week, you can make it like max special defense or max defense or something, and it usually can wall several hits. Shiinotic's really cool. Shiinotic's one of the Pokemon I prefer to see with like Prankster, so you could do skill swaps and stuff. But it's another fairly bulky Pokemon. I mean, base 100 special defense. It's kind of crazy. I think that was another pick solely for typing. He didn't have a grass type yet, so it was just a low tier. I think it was tier 4 or 5. And then Licky is actually really good. It's got honestly 3 really decent abilities. Cloud9 especially for the weather matchups. But this team is very offensive. If you look at the stat chart down there, he's broken 100, like an average of 104 special attack and 98 base attack which I think that's the highest we've seen out of all the teams. So yeah,
The team looks fantastic.
he's got a lot of power behind it. And I think what's just next to Grimmsnarl alone, that balances out some of the more frail Pokemon just a bit.
I also really like that the Mushana is less than 30 base speed, because even most Trick Room teams don't go lower than 30 speed, like
Yeah.
Glastria, Snorlax, whatever. They all reach 30. Just having one Pokemon that's even slower, pretty
Yeah.
nice.
So I think, yeah, my only really concern would just be the Capraja. I think that could have been something else, especially for 8 points. I think there's probably other 8 points he maybe could have looked at. Just because I don't think the repeat steel typing was really needed. But again, he might have some plans that I just don't know about.
Yeah, I don't even know Capraja's learn set. Like,
No,
never looked it up.
yeah, I don't know much about the mom myself. But yeah, this team's very well rounded. I think I would rate this one. Yeah, this is hard. I don't know if this is the best one we've seen so far. I want to say
Also,
9, but
just 29 to 142. The speeds are great. I still can't get over how they're spread out.
would you say this is our
Very
best one
nice.
so far?
What was the other one that we really liked?
We can look at the current rankings at the moment. So, as of now, Gatronix.
Oh, that's the
and-
Marshadow team. Oh,
Yeah. So we're looking at the Gatronix and the Emboars with Pro Horse at the top as of now.
I might just like Umi's team more. I'm not sure. It looks great.
I really like this team. I think even just having the Capraja there, it's still really good. But that trade could happen, and
Also, one of the fastest Max Airstreams with Dragapult in the
absolutely,
game,
yeah. I think
which really helps to get the slower mons going.
I'm okay with putting this team up to 9.5 if you are,
Sure, yeah.
because
Fine by me.
I think this team is a threat. It's gonna be extremely hard to prep for. I don't really know how. And if we wanted to go back to the beat up Keldeo, you can't fake out Dragapult. So like that's gonna.
Yeah.
I'm very interested to see how that goes. So amazing draft. Hope he does well. Next up, we have KS Knight Rider with the Maryland Magnemites. This team's interesting. It's got Zygarde complete, Volcanion, which is an okay pairing together. Togekiss for redirection, Mimikyu can be kind of an annoying Trick Room setter to deal with. Sableye pretty decent in draft. Raikou's not a bad support mon. Umbreon's also fairly good. Dhelmise is actually kind of a sweeper Trick Room mon. And then Audino and Sudowoodo, I'm not too keen on myself. I think this team has a massive, well, I wouldn't say a massive fighting weakness because it also has several immunities as well.
Yeah, especially Togekiss with the
Yeah.
Follow Me can handle the fighting
Yeah,
weakness.
I'm not too sure. I mean, as far as damage output, he has Zygarde, Volcanion. Togekiss can run like the Toga crit sets on it. Cobalion could be a sweeper. Raikou's usually not too offensive, and then half his team, it seems more supportive. I don't know. I have very mixed feelings about this draft.
This team looks super weird to me, not
Yeah,
gonna
that's what I'm
lie.
saying. Like, I don't know what it is, but it just something seems a little off. He does, but the moves. Togekiss doesn't have Tailwind anymore, even though it's appearing to have Tailwind.
Yeah.
He does have Trick Room. I didn't know Audino learned Trick Room. If that's still the case, that's new information to me.
I will look it up real quick. The one thing I'm kind of missing is BWs are faster than base 100 because they can justified Cobalion. What's his fastest one? Mimikyu at 96
Mm-hmm.
can be too slow. Also, there's nothing to speed up the Sudowoodo with Rattled.
Yeah.
That's fast than base 100.
Yeah,
But yeah, Mimikyu Sudowoodo is also a thing he can do.
Yeah, I definitely think a fast beat up user for Cobalion would benefit for sure.
Also, Audino actually does still get Trick Room.
It doesn't.
It does. It does.
Oh, it does. Okay, cool. No, I mean that's
So
that's kinda
yes,
cool to know.
Dhelmise and Audino. Am I missing something?
Um,
Sorry, Mimikyu. I mean, not Dhelmise. Sorry, Mimikyu and
yeah.
Audino. Got them mixed up.
I don't know. I mean, they have plenty of screens and like Helping Hand. Almost this entire team learns Helping Hand. That's kind of crazy to look at.
Oh, Raikou doesn't get Electro Web. Oh, that's unfortunate.
No, I think it just gets your.
So he has to T-Wave for speed control.
Which isn't bad. It's just a little more inconsistent if it does.
Yeah.
Miss.
As his fastest mon, I wish there was Electro Web or something.
Yeah, it does get Surf though, which is no, is it Scald? I think it's Scald. It gets a water type move, which is kind of funny. Which I don't really think he's gonna be able to benefit from that in any way on this team.
Yeah, it's Scald.
I don't know. I think this is probably. I don't want to say like my least favorite in a bad way, but this is probably the one I'm gonna rate the lower or the lowest as of now. Just
like most of the mons look cool individually, but I just don't see them fitting together yet.
Yeah,
just don't see it yet.
It seems like he's just kind of hoping to like redirect stuff and hope for the best. Is kind of what I'm getting from it, or like pairing with Sableye, quashed out speed stuff. Yeah, so you can go ahead.
I personally also really dislike Zygarde Complete as a restricted pick, but like it's fit. He didn't have a ground type yet. It's nice to have a dragon type for the resistances.
Yeah, it fits the
like,
type role.
Yeah, so. I just don't like the mon itself, but it seems to fit the team.
Yeah, so
also the speed is fine. Like he can bring 10%, right, with the 115 speed, and it gets what does it get? Glare. So
yeah,
it's a 100% accurate speed control if he needs it, I guess.
So I don't know.
It's really weak.
I think I'm gonna put this team at like a 6.5. That way it's below the other ones. I do think it could do things. I just don't think I'm
definitely.
Yeah.
Like if he gets up Trick Room, Delmice can just sweep through opponents.
Yeah, for sure. Especially with Steelworker, it's essentially a 3-type Pokemon. Yeah. I mean, it's
Torkoise is never bad. It does everything basically. Sableye is great support. Like it has a lot of great Pokemon. I just personally don't see exactly how they fit together.
Yeah. So I'm hoping he proves us wrong. I would like to see how this team kind of functions, but
yeah, like those are for the part kind of more niche mons that you don't see a lot on VGC. So just maybe moves you don't have in your head at the moment and that are great together.
Yeah. Moving on. We're going to be looking at Wakeman with the Great Lakes Grimmsnarls. This is actually a really good team as well. Zamazenta and Victini paired together. Very strong in my opinion. Zapdos is a really good Dynamax target. Blastoise paired with the Tapu Lele. I know there's no redirection there, but you still can't fake out the Blastoise, so you might be able to get a Shell Smash off. Scrafty's a super good Pokemon for Intimidate. It's kind of like a bootleg Incineroar in my opinion, because it still gets like fake out Snarl, all that stuff.
It's just bad.
I like it.
No, it's not bad, but like just compared to Incineroar, it just does so much less in my opinion.
I think it just falls short from the 4x Fairy weakness, unfortunately. But Runerigus is actually a really cool Pokemon. In my opinion, it can set Trick Room, but it can also Dynamax if need be. It does have like some pretty good move spread, move pool. Lycanroc is an okay Pokemon. Sceptile's not bad. I'm assuming he's gonna pair it with the Tapu Lele for Unburden, but
Blastoise gets Ice Shot as well if I recall correctly, so that's a thing he can do.
Yes, that's very true. And then he has Vulpix, which I'm not entirely sure if the Vulpix pick was for. I'm assuming for 4 points he has a plan with it. I don't know if Hail's gonna really. It might just be like a low tier Aurora Veil setter or something.
Could make sense. How fast is it? 65. Okay. Even if you sash it, it might just not get it off.
Yeah. So you'd have to run like Scarf or something, and then just like switch it out or let it die. But no, Zamazenta. It's proved itself over the last couple seasons. Season 1, everyone said it was the worst restricted. Season 2, everyone's kind of in the middle. Yeah, I don't think Season 1 it got drafted.
I'm actually shocked.
And then Season 3, here we are, and everyone's saying it's one of the best picks. So
it's fantastic.
Yeah, so I'm glad it's getting more respect. Victini is going to be extremely powerful here. I'm not sure if the Kanto Victini was drafted or not in Platinum, but not Victini, Vulpix. I almost think the Kanto Vulpix could have been better, because then you could have had Victini and Sun.
It was not drafted yet. I remember saying you should have gotten the Kanto Vulpix for the V-Create infinite damage, basically.
Yeah,
but
so that could have been cool to see for sure.
Some kind of plan behind the lower one.
Yeah.
It probably also gets Ice Shot for Sceptile.
I would assume so, yeah. But yeah, I think this team is very well rounded as well as far as types go. It really doesn't have any big weaknesses.
Oh, remember when I said that Blastoise gets Ice Shard? I think I confused with Aqua Jet. It's Vulpix only that gets Ice Shard on the team, which makes sense then that he got it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how I mixed up Aqua Jet and Ice Shard, but yeah, that it makes more sense to have.
This is another team. It's got mixed speed tiers, so Zamazenta is going to be its fastest thing, unless Sceptile is unburdened procced. But then it does have its small Trick Room core. Its Drampa is a pretty cool Pokemon as well. Berserk, it's such a good ability if used correctly. And then Cloud.
Drampa is fantastic.
Yeah. Tapu Lele, I fully expected to see like Scarf or Choice Spec sets most of the time. It's just gonna be mad, like chip damage, and then let the rest of the team clean up afterwards. Yeah, I think this team's going to it has a lot of damage everywhere. Like, every Pokemon on this team does damage somehow, except for maybe the Vulpix. Because even Scrafty with, like, Lash Out, or because it is so slow, it can take advantage of, like, Lash Out and stuff. Yeah, they all kind of pack a punch.
Also, since you say chip damage on the Tapu Lele, it really helps to have a G-Max Cannonade off. Oh, like, 100%. Even if you don't get the full range, the Cannonade can finish everything off. Like, the G-Max moves of the Kanto starters are just so broken.
Yeah, so this is a very strong team. I think, yeah, it's just another good draft. And
I think it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
And Zapdos is one of my favorite max targets.
It's such a good
Pokemon. A really strong Airstream. The speedies are great, the Summer Center on 128, then the Sceptile, which even gets unburdened. It goes all the way down to 30 with the Trick Room setter.
I think the only downside I'm seeing is I think he's fully relying on like preventing his opponent's Tailwind or just setting up Trick Room, because without his own Tailwind, he's not going to be able to like fully outspeed other like hyper offense teams.
I mean, Zapdos has the max Airstream, but you basically need to get two of to match the Tailwind, and Zapdos isn't the bulkiest mon, especially when you have to go offensively.
So I think that's like the only flaw I'm really seeing that's like notable, I think. So I would place this team probably just with the other 9 categories, like with Pro Horse and Gatronix, because I think this team's phenomenal. I
wonder if there's any plan behind the Lycanroc, if it's just the rock type and that's it.
Yeah, all I really am seeing is a rock type myself, but it's a Pokemon I don't have experience with myself.
I think the other Lycanroc was still available, the Accelerock one, and I don't know between them what's actually the best one of them, but having a priority rock move is pretty nice.
Yeah.
So I wonder what exactly the plan behind this one is.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I think for now I'll place this at 9. I think that's fair.
I do like it.
So now we have Evans.
Oh wait, can you go back?
Yeah.
There's one important thing we didn't mention. He can match the Tailwind. He has Swamp on his team with the Sceptile and the Blastoise for the Water and Grass Pledge.
I didn't notice that.
He can easily gain the Tailwind. Yeah, so I think no one else had it yet. That's the first one.
Yeah, I really honestly like. I forget that the pledge moves exist half the time.
Yeah, and especially with Sceptile at 120, you should get it up easily if you want it or need it.
So yeah, that is something to keep.
Almost missed it.
I think I'll still keep it at 9 just because like.
Yeah, definitely. But at least that's a way to counter Trick Room if needed. Tailwind if needed.
Yeah.
Or just gain speed control.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, so now we have the Santa Cruz Sandshrewz with Evan Smoke VGC. So he was our round 1 pick for Platinum, and so he has the Migurna sitting there, standing tall. And he actually managed to pull off Lunala and Indeedee together, which is pretty good. It's not nearly as I don't think as strong as like Calyrex Shadow paired with it, but it can still put out a lot of damage. I know you like Thundurus a lot. Thundurus is a phenomenal Pokemon in draft, in my opinion.
It's so good. It does everything. It's a physical attacker, it's a special attacker, it's a support. It has amazing speed. It's definitely one of my favorite Pokemon in draft after Marshadow.
Yeah, it's very strong. It could do anything you really need it to do. Politoed, I'm not 100% sure on Politoed. I think it's really just the range setter for Beartic.
Oh no, for Magina to protect him from fire. That was my thought.
Yeah,
I could just put Magina, protect him from fire, maybe give it a helping hand or something, get easy KOs.
Right.
I think that was the reasoning. I think it was even drafted like way before Bertic.
Yeah, which would even make a lot of sense. Crocodile is a really cool Pokemon. Moxie, you can catch a lot of people off guard, but Intimidate's always there is a good option. I don't fully expect to see Anger Point ever really used. Beartic's it's a cool Pokemon with the option of Slush Rush or Swift Swim. I'm not too keen on it though. I think it is, if I'm not mistaken, it's a little more frail than you would like to see it, but overall it's okay. Maractus can be a really cool Pokemon for Storm Drain, especially paired with like Crocodile or is Rapidash even. Wartortle's a kind of cool like mid-tier evolution pick for low, because it still gives you a fake out user, gives you like Haze, Icy Wind, stuff like that. And it can be fairly bulky with an Eviolite if I'm not mistaken.
It has a decent move pool.
Yeah.
Also, Aqua Chat. Well, the only Pokemon with a weakness policy in Aqua Chat would be Crocodile here. But if you try to go for Moxie Sweep, it could work.
I could see it being at least attempted. Snorlax Gmax. Snorlax in general it's a pretty good pick. As a Trick Room sweeper or just Belly Drum, or you could do Yawn Snorlax and not actually Dynamax it at all, but overall
it just does a lot of damage and has great coverage.
I even with Magearna, I think this team like it's super strong, but I'm not 100% sure on some of the picks. I Trick Room, I know Lunala and Magearna learn Trick Room, but I'm not sure if you want to. I feel like with having Magearna on your team, you're going to want to take full advantage of just getting kills as fast as possible. At least that's my mindset. So I don't think you're going to want to take a turn to set Trick Room itself and risk it taking more like unnecessary damage potentially.
Yeah, you would have to set it up with Lunala and have Magearna in the back.
Yeah, unless you're going to like redirect with Indeedee, set Trick Room, and then
that would work, yeah.
And then Dynamax afterwards, which I could see. It's kind of like Hatterene almost. So yeah, like, I don't know.
The most Dynamax targets would probably be Magearna, a Thundurus next to Magearna to set up a Airstream, a Snorlax, or a Moxie Crocodile. I think that's all that would max here in this team.
Yeah, Rapidash is cool, but it just yeah.
I really like how the team looks, but the one mon I'm not sure on is the Beartic. I think it's cool, but even with 50 speed and rain,
it's not gonna. Yeah,
it can get outsped by a lot.
And I agree with you. I think Politoed, like if their main goal was to does Thundurus learn Rain Dance?
Yes.
So I almost think Politoed for 13 points could be anything else, and then if you really wanted the rain protection for Magearna, you could just run Thundurus with it potentially. Because I don't know if Politoed on its own, like aside from setting rain, I don't really think
like you could scarf it with Icy Wind next to Magearna as speed control, but that doesn't seem very great.
I just don't think it's worth the 13 points for just
that's a lot.
Yeah, I think it could really be anything else. But then again, he doesn't have like a stronger water type. I just don't think it's the best for draft. It's very linear as far as like what it can do.
I do like that it gets Helping Hand though. Yeah. So if you have it out with Magearna, you can get easily some KOs.
What's crazy
against Max ones. It's pretty strong.
A lot of his more like prominent Pokemon also learn the Helping Hand. So like Lunala and Indeedee, those are probably always going to be in the same at least set of 4 with Magearna in a battle. So I could almost see like Helping Hand on Indeedee every week, and so that's pretty terrifying.
Yeah. Magearna already does a lot of damage.
Yeah,
and what I mentioned earlier, I really like the Thundurus Max Airstream. And like next to it is Specs Magearna or even Whiteheart Magearna to go for Flurkan and another Flurkan then at +1 or whatever.
Yeah.
Also seems super strong.
So, I do think... I don't know. You can go ahead.
I only still wanted to mention the speed. I like that it goes up to 111, which is a great thing to have, and down to 30 in Trick Room.
I think even with Magearna, I think I would probably put this team at 8.5. I think it has super good threats. I think it's very scary. I'm curious to see how, for all 3 divisions, not just Platinum, I want to see how well Magearna actually does, because I know it was super hyped up.
I could easily see it being banned next season.
Yeah,
it just really depends on how it performs here. Good thing we have 3 divisions to watch for, so if one person has a bad team around it and doesn't perform, we can still see what it does in the other divisions.
I think I'm gonna put Evan at a 8.5 just
Yeah,
because
I think I like
it's
the 9-point teams more, so
yeah.
that seems like a good fit. The team is still
Yeah,
great.
this team's very strong. I think the top half, I think from like Magirna to Crocodile, phenomenal picks. I think the last four are like a little off balance for me. I think it could have been rearranged a little bit, but that's just my opinion.
I think I like the Rectus, Rapidash, and Wartortle still more than
Hmm.
Politoed and Beartic. But
Hmm.
the rain can probably not be underestimated next to Magirna. It might be worth the points.
Yeah.
We'll
So
see how
yeah.
the games play out.
Yep. And finally, last but not least, we have Michi, with the Sweet Mountain Sylveons. This is her third season returning. Super good coach. Basically the master of Silvallys. This is her third season in a row drafting Silvallys. So I mean, she always surprises me with it. But she has Xerneas, which it's kind of like Zamazenta. It's been up and down of people saying it's good or bad in this format of draft. I think it's phenomenal in most cases. Celebi is a very interesting pick with Dynamax. Without Dynamax, it doesn't do too much. It's more supportive, but in Dynamax, I mean, it does get an okay move pool. And base 100 stats all around. I mean, you can't go wrong with Dynamaxing something like that. Cinderace is super good in draft. Gastrodon's an okay pick. Hydreigon is decent, especially if you want to utilize Levitate somehow. Aegislash it's kind of cool to see in draft. You don't get to see it. I don't think I've seen it picked too often. Min Xiao is a really good support Pokemon as a fighting type with inner focus and whatnot. Ice Q is really surprised me. I don't think I've ever seen someone draft Ice Q. So I'm really hoping she uses it. And Shedinja's super cool. Swoobat, I skipped over just because I think that's a very interesting Pokemon. I'm kind of indifferent on it myself. They do have, which I'm for some reason the moves aren't kind of showing up here on the side, but I know Swoobat does get access to, I think, Tailwind and Trick Room if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
So I guess that option is there, although I don't really see Trick Room being like an offensive strategy for her. Most of her team's very fast, like base 95 or higher, and then aside from a handful of Pokemon at the bottom. So I would definitely see expect Tailwind a little more, especially Tailwind.
It only gets Trick Room, not Tailwind.
Oh, it doesn't even get the Tailwind?
No, no, unfortunately not.
So I don't think she has Tailwind at all, unfortunately.
I mean, it gets Tailwind for itself with simple Max Airstream, but
yeah,
not for the teammates.
But yeah, Silvally, super good. It's so hard to prep for. You really can't.
Yeah.
You basically have to assume what type you're the most weak against and prep for that type, and then if you're wrong, you're wrong. But yeah, Cinderace, I think Cinderace, Xerneas, and probably Silvally would probably be the three most used. Min Xiao is a really good coaching user as well, so you could even coaching your Cinderace. You could run a physical Xerneas and coaching the Xerneas possibly. There's some cool little interactions here, but I think this is another team where I'm not seeing too much synergy. It's rather just a bunch of good or decent Pokemon put together.
Yeah, the team looks super weird to me just because it has Aegislash, Shedinja, Ice-Q, Swoobat, but it has a lot of strong Pokemon. Yeah. Also, a lot of Pokemon people that say that Xerneas is bad just only have what's the move? Geomancy in mind. But you can't just run Scarf, Life Orb, whatever. It just does so much damage, even against resistant Pokemon with fairy moves.
No, I agree.
Yeah. Deals a lot and it has decent speed.
Yeah, I don't really have too much to say about this team. I think it's like you said, there's some weird Pokemon, and I'm curious to see how they're going to be used. As far as speed control though, I think the biggest weakness or flaw is just going to be Pokemon placement, as far as the battles go. She's going to have to make sure she's leading correctly, I guess. I'm just not sure how she's going to take advantage of a game, an individual match.
Yeah, I think the best speed control she has herself is probably Max Airstream Cinderace. It's one of the fastest ones on the field whenever it's out.
Yeah, and I do think coaching
Celebi with Imprison for opponents that try to set up Trick Room. I think that's about it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm hoping she surprises me. I really want to see Ice Cube put in work, at least win a game for her.
Oh yeah, that one is super cool.
Yeah, Shedinja is really kind of hard to use in draft because most people will look at Shedinja and on a like if they're prepping and at least have some type of coverage for it. That way
Yeah.
they can at least kill it. So I don't expect to see too much success with it. But
I think for 5 points, it's just a lot to take a one that just dies to
mhm.
basically everything. Like if you just set up weather with a max move, it dies if it doesn't have safety goggles. But if it has those, it dies to anything that just can hit it.
Yeah, so I don't
Weird.
know. I think just because you have to respect Xerneas and Cinderace and like some of the higher ones. I mean, even Hydreigon can Dynamax
Yeah.
with like Life Orb and do damage.
Oh, definitely. It does a
Yeah,
lot
so
of
like this
damage.
this team has offensive pressure. It's just like maintaining the winning like position of the game is I think what the team could fall to. But I would probably put this one at like a 7. It has good
Yeah,
Pokemon,
seems
but
fine.
again, there's just not a lot of synergy that I'm seeing. But
Unfortunately, Aegislash is so weird this generation.
mm-hmm.
Just bad to Dynamax and all around kind of awkward to use. Like it can be good, but
Yeah.
not a huge fan of how it. Like did it lose stats? Wasn't anything else nerfed about it this generation? I can't remember.
Um, I'm not too sure to be honest with you.
I feel like it lost stats, but I'm not
I
certain.
know something got nerfed on it. I don't recall what. I didn't play too much back when it first released.
Oh yeah, it
Uh,
lost 10 defense and special
is that what it
defense,
was? Okay.
and therefore in the other form attack and special attack. But yeah, basically 20 points total
Gotcha.
over.
But yeah, with that being said, um, looks like we have Gumi placed in first place. His
Rightfully
team,
so.
yeah, and his team. I mean, we can go back and look at it again, but yeah, his team's just probably the most well-rounded, in my opinion, between special offense, like physical offense. He has bulky Pokemon where he needs them. He has all the type coverage you could really ask for. Um, nearly his entire team's dual typing, which is kind of funny to look at as well.
That's great.
I think the only lackluster thing is the Copper but I think that could still be handled and worked with. So
I personally also don't like the Landorus. It just feels weird to me, but it has a great speed, so I guess
it's
it
great
kind of
speed,
fits.
and it's still you can still run physical Landers. You can essentially
Yeah,
run it. You can run it just like Lander's Theory and just minus the Intimidate, and you can run Sand Force with Max Rockfall, and you can set your own
true.
Sand and then have boosted attacks afterwards. So like, yeah, it can still be used with Life Orb and whatnot. So yeah, super good team. Congrats on that. But yeah, everyone here, this entire division, is really good drafts. The lower ones just I think are a little more confused, if that's the right word, at least for us rating them. We don't know what your intentions are. um,
Also, since we saw all the other teams we rated higher first and then saw these teams, it kind of influenced
yeah,
us. Maybe we would have rated them higher in a different division or whatever.
yeah, no, I agree with you there too. But yeah, with that being said, that's going to be the Platinum Power Rankings. Let us know in the comments if you have any questions on our opinions, or if you want to kind of state some of your plans, but I don't blame you if you don't want to reveal any secrets yet. And I wish you guys all a good season.